Welcome back to the Daily Morning Sports Feed on Reds Army, with me as editor Olivia. Today, let's take a look at some notable sports news in the past 24 hours. Thank you for always supporting and accompanying us. Come to the following hot news. This team's got no quit in us. Bills players and coaches stay confident following loss. Buccaneers looking like their own worst enemy after loss to Packers. The first news. This team's got no quit in us. Bills players and coaches stay confident following loss. Amid the tough 21-19 loss to the Miami Dolphins, head coach Sean McDermott and the Bills locker room remain confident after the resilience they showed between the team's injuries sustained prior to and during Sunday's game, and 100 degrees plus field temperatures in Miami. Looking past the final score and their first loss of the season, the Bills still had plenty of positive takeaways from Sunday's game. Bills locker room remains confident and encouraged. The limited depth the Bills had in certain positions throughout the game mixed with the Miami Heat presented a tough challenge to the Bills sidelines on Sunday afternoon. But even though they didn't come away with the outcome they were hoping for, the locker room remains confident in what the team is capable of accomplishing this season. I think this game was very encouraging from the standpoint of, this team's got no quit in us, tight end Dawson Knox said. There were guys that were jumping on the offensive line playing positions they never played. Some guys were getting their first start on our defense, and it just shows that we got guys that are ready to go. They're going to jump up, play to the best of their abilities, and give us their best effort. After calling on multiple players throughout the game to step in at all different positions, head coach Sean McDermott shared how proud he was of the guys for the battle and effort they put forth against the Dolphins. Got a lot of confidence in the guys in this room, a lot of confidence, McDermott said. And the confidence in the guys who stepped into these new roles wasn't just noticed by the head coach. It's super encouraging, as a teammate, to see guys that are coming off the bench playing positions they've never played, giving us their best effort, Knox said. Some of those guys are back here getting IVs because they busted their tail all game doing something they've never done before. Linebacker Von Miller shared that it's games like this that really bring a team together. In Buffalo, that's all we have is football, Miller said. That's all we care about is football and winning games, and a loss like this early in games is good medicine. Adversity like this truly reveals character, and we have a team full of tough guys. This is all just adversity, and I'm excited to see how we respond. Real men respond to things like this, and I'm excited to see how we respond. The team also acknowledged that it's early on in the season and this was just one game, further boosting everybody's eagerness to respond accordingly next weekend against the Baltimore Ravens. We'll learn from this one tomorrow, take it on the chin, and prepare for next week, quarterback Josh Allen said. That's all we can do. We can move forward. We're 2-1. I'd like to be 3-0. But 2-1, we can still accomplish everything we want to accomplish. Like many of their teammates and coaches, Dawson Knox and wide receiver Isaiah McKenzie have faith in this resilient team to overcome and preserve from Sunday's loss. We didn't play our best football, but we're going to put our best foot forward, watch this film, and get better for next week, McKenzie said. There's so much football ahead of us, Knox said. I think this can be a great focal point for us moving forward just to see the fight that we have in us. Allen and Tagovailoa's performances. QB Josh Allen put up record-breaking numbers in the hard-fought battle against QB Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins. Here's a breakdown of the two quarterback stats from Sunday afternoon. Allen, 400 passing yards, 42.63 for completions, 47 rushing yards, 2 passing TDs. Tagovailoa, 186 passing yards, 13.18 for completions, 1 passing TD, 0 rushing yards. Between all offensive position groups, Allen worked with every option he had on the field, which resulted in 11 Bills players having a reception on the day, setting a new club single-game record. I thought Josh and the back did a good job getting on the same page early, McDermott said. They were doing some things blitz-wise, which we expected, and some dropout as well. I thought they handled it at times fairly well, but other times we can grow from it. The following news. Buccaneers looking like their own worst enemy after loss to Packers. For a moment Sunday afternoon, everything looked normal again. Tom Brady had thrown a dart that sliced between two defenders to find Russell Gage near the back of the end zone for a touchdown. This was the GOAT stuff the biggest Buccaneers game crowd in Raymond James Stadium history had come for, which had been limited by mistakes, penalties and the Green Bay defense all day. But with 18 seconds remaining, This had the makings of a classic Brady ending. All that was needed was a 2-point conversion to send the game to overtime. And then the Bucs couldn't get set. They took a delay of game penalty and another pass to Gage fell incomplete. Metaphorically, a failure to get set, a lack of execution, has been the story of the offense, which has managed just 3 touchdowns in 3 games this season. But it was literally the issue here, in the Bucs' 14-12 loss to the Packers, and it wasn't a surprising one. An offense that was down its 2 primary targets, and that held out a third weapon, and that signed a player off the street early last week and elevated him off the practice squad in the morning and then threw the second pass of the day to him. That offense is probably not going to have the smoothest operation in the heat of the moment, even if Brady gave up his veteran day off to take every representative in practice this week. "We're not running as good as we're capable. That passing game hasn't been very good," Brady said with a tired-looking smile. The picture of the day was one of Brady ducking under a potential sack and chugging, not exactly sprinting, for 18 yards on third down late in the third quarter, breaking his knee brace when he slid. He said later he saw a lot of green grass in front of him, but what he couldn't see was the holding penalty behind him that wiped out the play entirely. The drive ended with a punt, instead of continuing with the Bucs near midfield. Brady joked that it is usually not a good thing, but this was more than that, symbolic of how many chances the Bucs had despite the absences, how very often they made it harder on themselves. The Bucs' defense was stellar, shutting out Aaron Rodgers in the second half. They allowed the Packers just 2 touchdowns on the day, forced 2 turnovers, including a fumble as the Packers were about to go in for a touchdown, and the Bucs could not capitalize. "We didn't have to have those guys to win this ball game," said a visibly frustrated coach Todd Bowles. "We just had to play smarter. We had chances to win this game. We shot ourselves in the foot. Talent had nothing to do with the way we shot ourselves in the foot." Bowles was so annoyed that when he was asked about Gage's performance, he caught 12 passes for 87 yards and a touchdown. He replied that anytime a player fumbles, it takes away everything good he does. The truth is that everything looked nearly as difficult for the Packers, who are not whole and not running smoothly either. Aaron Jones fumbled near the goal line in the second quarter and the Packers almost completely abandoned the run after that. Rodgers settled mostly for short passes, finishing with 27 completions for 255 yards. The anticipated aerial fireworks that had made this game so attractive when the schedule was announced were cancelled by the absences and inexperience that cloud these teams right now. The Bucs and Packers remain 2 of the NFC's best teams. They are each 2-1 and are certainly Super Bowl contenders. And for the Bucs, who entered the game with a very un-Brady-like 18th-ranked scoring offense, time should heal most of their wounds. Mike Evans will return from suspension. Bowles said Julio Jones could have played this week and will probably be back next Sunday when the Bucs face the Kansas City Chiefs. Chris Godwin will presumably eventually return and Beasley, of course, will have more than 3 days of experience in the offense. Most importantly, the defense is intact and Brady certainly did not come out of retirement and open himself to rampant speculation about everything from his weight to his marriage to accept a season like this. He, as much as anybody in the NFL, sets the standard for the entire Bucs operation and, if the fate of those poor tablets last week is any indication, he will demand, perhaps more angrily than he shows in press conferences, improvement. Brady, in fact, seemed more weary than angry Sunday, which is not what would be said about Bowles. He was careful not to overly laud his defense to the exclusion of the offense, saying the Bucs win and lose as an entire team. "We can be tough and we can fight but that's not going to win us the game," he said. "We have to be cleaner." A hurricane is threatening to hit Florida later this week and Bowles was asked about what preparations the team had made. Bowles said a few conversations had taken place. More are certainly to come. After all, the Bucs are already in the middle of a storm of their own creation. And those are also the most outstanding morning news today. Thank you to everyone for listening and following redsarmy's daily news. If you find the video interesting and useful, please click like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of the latest sports news.